Hello, I'm Wanning. Here's my topic. Systemic and mechanical interference with game's progress contribute to immersive narrative rhythm structure. So let's start. My presentation is built up to four parts. The first one is a keyword definition about introduction on narrative structure, system, and mechanic. Second one is the introduction of the topic. And third one are some example analysis. And the fourth one is the conclusion and the reflection. So let's start from the first one, keyword definition. The three keywords we got is system, mechanics, and narrative structure. The first one, system, game system. Game system can be both macroscopic and microscopic. Game system includes all systems from entering the game until close it ultimately. For instance, login is a system, and gears and abilities are systems. Attacking logic is a system. Moreover, tasks in game is also a system. So it means that system defines the basement of the game, defines what you can do inside the game. An open world game may gives you system of working, attacking, trading, and doing tasks, and a working simulation merely gives you system of working. Actually, game system defines what's possible to explore and utilize during the narrative journey. Well, the next one, mechanics. Mechanics is different. Mechanics define how you interact with the system. For example, card, battlefield, graveyard, commander, and the turns form the MTG. And mechanics are attacking, defending, tapping, and untapping, casting spells, and so on. Generally, mechanics defines what we can do with the system. And the next one is the narrative structure. As I mentioned before in midterm, here are four different narrative structure. In general, narrative structure serves for storytelling and emotional empathy in the game. So here is our logic chain. In a game with story, the narrative purpose drives the whole game, and the system is where the game shows you the story. Specifically, all mechanics serve you to play and gain the story from the game, to experience it. And here is also where the problem begins. How do you make sure that player would follow your guide and experience the whole story through those mechanics inside the system you set up correctly? Correct means that they get what you want. In the article, the current case of video game orgasm and video game narrative written by Shira Chess, author mentions that game as storytelling has setting up, pick, and end just like males experience in having sex. This is the reason of this narrative structure in game. Also, if the rhythm is bad, is broken, and improperly, would be awful storyteller, as the writer mentions. So what makes the game lose narrative rhythm and becomes less immersive? I think the answer is loss of interference with game progress, and I will show you why. So let's start with a negative example from CTPR project open world game, since open world game is the severely affected area related to our topic. Cyberpunk 2077. First of all, let's see a very traditional meme on the internet about Cyberpunk. From the game's first day till now, we call that Cyberpunk the waiting of Hanako Araska, which means that because the task called the Nocturne OP55N1 is the last task of the game. If you go for it, the game ends. If the game itself will tell you before you enter the building and begin the task. And what's funky is that the first part of the game is meeting Hanako Arasaka at Amber. Because it's the main narrative line in the game, every time you complete another task, this is on the first rank of task list. So during the game, you see this task again and again and again and again, and you just let her wait for you for hours and days and months and years. Even if character's identity is a guy whose life is at the age of death, if he can't cure his ill, and Hanako Arasaka is the one who knows how to cure you. So this creates awful narrative structure. People like the story, but they don't like how it is told because there's no proper interference with the game process based on the story. You never feel that your illness is going worse during your other tasks. Maybe like after you killed hundreds of enemies without a rest, and you begin the main narrative task. And it starts from letting you fall on the ground and begins to spitting blood and say, "Oh, my death is near." This doesn't make sense for a player at all. And this is also applied to nearly every main task point in the game. The game has lots of names: Cyberpunk, the waiting of Hanako Arasaka, Cyberpunk, the waiting of Goro Takamura, and so on. Similar problems often also appear in other open world games like The Witcher 3, but the name becomes The Witcher Waiting of Series, The Witcher Waiting of Yennefer, The Witcher Waiting of Dandelion. No, this is normal in open world game, but this situation is not good. The game loses the rhythm of narrative at all. The story should be nervous and in a hurry, but you can't feel that. You need strong self-restriction to believe in that. But this responsibility shouldn't be on the player, right? We need designers' interference. So here we have two answers. What we can do. Do you remember the logic chain we talked about before? Here are two chances we can fix that. The first is systematic interference, and the second one is mechanical interference. Fortunately, we have two awesome examples from Phantom Liberty and Before Your Eyes, respectively. Let's talk about them one by one. First, systematic interference, which means directly add things into the system. The DLC of Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty did a good job in creating a nervous story of spying and fighting for life inside the Dogtown, but also without forcing players to lose the experience of some other not that important tasks outside the main narrative story. How? It adds a time system. I mean, time system that's really working. Between each task, your partners need time to prepare, collect information, design plan. You see lots of calls and tasks tell you to wait. Some of them would even text you a day before next plan and ask you for a drink before it. And you also have something to do, or just wait for their call once they are ready. During the time you don't feel out of the main task, you are still on the line, ready to fight for your life. You just have a reason to take a break because you have nothing to do with the main narrative. During the time and work around the new map Dogtown and also completing some new small tasks on the way. And while main character calls you after like 2 hours, you go back and continue main task. This game loop becomes reasonable and immersive because of the time system. That's one reason why Phantom Liberty gets nearly full point, but Cyberpunk itself merely gets about 70. Clearly, players love how they experience the narrative structure in Phantom Liberty. The team is still the team storytellers, the same storyteller, but Oblivious time system is added to interfere the player. You truly feel the time, so you feel the narrative rhythm, you feel the story. The next example is totally mechanics interference, one of my favorite games Before Your Eyes. The game has a very normal system, click and click, click to progress, click to use items, click to drag, but it has a very unique mechanics, which is eye movement. Every blink is a click. You click everywhere by blink. Turn to the next page by blink. Make a decision by blink, which means you can't stay at point for too long because you can't stop blinking for too long. I was amazed by the idea was attached to it. The unique mechanics based on unique controller forms this no-stopping game. It directly utilizes human body's limitation on blinking to force you push the game progress, force you to make a decision, force you to turn to the next page no matter how crazy you want the world just stay at the point forever. You can't. The longer you're gazing, the harder you insist. Finally, you have to move on once you can't hold your eyes anymore, which is perfectly matching the game's narrative rhythm, a memory you have to go through and can't stay no matter how beautiful it is. No matter how serendipity or what serendipity you want to keep forever, you still have to move. Moreover, like we mentioned, if you want to keep a moment forever, you have to give in enough love, which makes you cry definitely. Not merely because of the movie story, but your body mechanics itself. Your tears run out during the game. The game is actually summoning your tears in both mental way and physical way. The pain of gazing is transformed from the game to the player in a way better than any game I played before. Because the mechanics is utilizing your body limitation to interfere your game process. Your game progress. You can also view it as a time system, but it works in a mechanical way and triggering your own body's reflection. Additionally, the mechanics force you to rest your other part of your body, to be concentrating in the game story merely by moving your eyes, but have no reason to touching your controller or keyboard, which will remind you of the reality anymore. The unique mechanics interference is engaging you to totally immerse in the game's narrative rhythm, flowing through the memory, just like the ship in the game. This is how the mechanics interference helps the game to provide immersive narrative experience. A little transformation on clinking mechanics makes the magic. The last part, conclusion and reflection. We have used a negative example to show the flaw in traditional open world game. After that, we use the DLC version of it to showcase the solution, which is systemic interference to the game progress. After that, we see another awesome case before your eyes, which uses mechanics interference to the game progress. All to make interference influences how player goes through the whole game progress and experience narrative rhythm, acting as an engaging elements keeps pushing player inside the game world all the time without a chance of getting back to reality and get rid of the world. We've seen the effect in both open world and near a linear narrative game, which is nearly a visual novel that proves its usability. However, there is still a long way to go combining game system mechanics and storytelling in the near future. With technology stronger than before your eye movement catching, there will be more and more unique mechanics suitable for different narrative reasons, not only moving stories. Hoping we will see that one day and contribute for that. This is my presentation. Thank you for watching.